Hello everyone, welcome to Season 3 of Still We Persist. This is a webcast hosted by AYA, the Women of Color Initiative, at the Hattie Redmond Women and Gender Center here at Oregon State University. If you watched Still We Persist last year, you might remember me. I'm Shaina Khan. I'm here at the center with the entire AYA team, I think for the first time on Still We Persist. We'll introduce ourselves in a moment. First, I want to say that the Women and Gender Center and OSU as a whole are on land that has been stolen from the Marys River or Amphinefu Band of Kalapuya. As the Land Back movement reminds us, this land is under the sovereignty of Indigenous nations. For more information on land back and Indigenous sovereignty, visit landback.org. And for future episodes, we'll have guests on to talk to us more about land back. Maybe we can go into introductions. I'm Shaina Khan, like I said. I use she, her pronouns. I am a second-year PhD in the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies program, and I am the graduate teaching assistant for AYA.
Hi, I'm Benajza Jones. I use she, her pronouns. I am a transferred junior and an ecological engineering major. I am also a CRR, a community relations representative here at the center and for AYA.
I'm Jada. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a second-year Human Development and Family Sciences major, and I'm also a CRR here at the center.
Hi, my name is Maija Pham. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a fourth year studying radiation health physics, and I serve as the leadership liaison for AYA Women of Color Initiative. So with all of that, what have we been working on, team?
Well, me and Jada have a Women of Color discussion group that happens every even Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30 with CAPS. So that's happening.
Yeah, CAPS is Counseling and Psychological Services here on campus, and we get to meet with Shazneen and Chanel, which are two lovely women from CAPS who help us facilitate those discussions. Those are happening bi-weekly, so the next one is going to happen next week, Thursday.
And are there snacks?
There are snacks.
I gotta go get more snacks too. So apparently I didn't have enough.
Yeah,
I guess you all got feedback that people wanted more snacks and more variety. So
I felt like the lady from Thanksgiving where she's like, I got beans, greens, tomatoes. But I'm like, I bought all this stuff, I just didn't buy candy, so maybe I need to go get candy.
Should have gotten that discount candy after Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
That candy be terrible.
What? You got packs.
You get those little gummy dot things and that's it.
Variety.
I don't like variety.
Maybe that was the problem.
We have chips, granola bars, Oreos.
Water.
We got it all.
Crackers.
Basically come for snacks.
Yeah.
I'll buy some gummy things.
Well, I'm glad you all started answering the question because whenever someone asks me what I do for AYA, I feel like I just come to meetings and then cheer you all on. But I guess I have done one interview for the newsletter, which goes out every week, right? We should have an issue coming out right after this recording, pretty much. So I think we've all had a chance to do an interview now. What's something you've enjoyed about doing those interviews?
I like not being the interviewee. I like being the person interviewing.
Yeah.
Because there's no pressure on me. But also just learning more information behind the scenes from people. Because sometimes the people I interview, I have questions for automatically. So I'm I know other people have questions for, but getting to hear and be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And then telling other folks I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just nice to get to know people on campus and getting to know different identities and different leadership roles and things like that. So it's kind of nice to get to know different people, just how different their lives are and I guess their role in the community. That's really nice for me personally.
I would agree with that, especially since I got to do I got to be the interviewer for this week's edition, and so I know I went into it with very specific questions and kind of a rough idea of what we'd be getting out of it, but the interviewee really just shared a lot that I wasn't expecting, and I was like, wow, you really opened my eyes and have taught me different things. I've learned about different art forms after doing this interview, so I'm really excited for just the OSU community to see who's in our community and all the amazing kind of advocacy work and interests that we all have across the board. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I feel the same way about what all of you have said. I interviewed Kobe and Itachi, right? So that conversation went places I wasn't expecting at all. And like you're saying, being the interviewer, you know this person is open to answering questions. So like you can just kind of ask whatever you want. And yeah, that like, it's different from just like sitting and chatting with somebody. So
Yes.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Being able to feature them is nice too.
Yeah.
It's like a little thing, but
I agree. Having been featured last year, I was like, oh my gosh, someone was like thinking about me. Someone thought that the things I do or what I have to say is important, and I just felt like very validated in what I got to share. So I really enjoy that part.
I'm glad we can do that, even if it's just like a small thing every week.
Also, I'm new here, so I've only been here for, I think I'll be in Corvallis for 2 months on like Sunday. So learning about more people and like just reaching out to more people and them being so open to like come see me and learn. I like that. Just nice.
Yeah, right. It's the same for me. I got here early September, so like maybe a few days before you did, and everything is new, and it's really cool to like have this position where I'm like encouraged to go out and meet people and like actually be involved. As a grad students, like we don't always have time to like go out and talk to people in like student organizations. So I'm glad I have this opportunity.
yeah, I'm a little bit different than you guys because both of you are out of state, California and then Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not born here, but I guess I always lived in Oregon. I was a little, I'm like 2 hours away, but I was also moved in around September-ish, and it was a little bit different, but I was still, not too far from home. I know it's different for both of you because you're kind of really far from home, but it is nice to, I was also like a 2020 grad, and so I didn't get to go on campus last year, so it's nice to be able to like get involved with things finally, and just, I guess I like the dynamic of this job a lot more. It's a lot different than like just a strict like customer service job, but I really like all the work we do with that.
Yeah, I definitely love the team, like the atmosphere specifically to the Women and Gender Center. I feel like that same idea of like it's not a really rigid job and we like understand what we're supposed to do, but there's so much room for like collaboration and just like being here and having a lot of like the guests who like frequent the center, and it's like, oh hey, like how are you doing? Like just building those relationships on a day-to-day level, and so yeah, I really love that. And like also, it's just nice to be back because I'm also like born and raised in Oregon, and my dad is a Beaver alum, so like I've known Corvallis. I was here fall 2018. So I've seen it virtual and in person. So it's just nice to be back in person and getting to like see people because I've just been around and I'm on my way out. So gotta finish strong.
Yay.
Maya, I feel like I'm learning a lot about you in this conversation, even though like I've known you for the whole term. Like hearing your entire major, like when you say the whole thing, I'm like, whoa, that's really impressive. And then I didn't know your dad went here. So yeah, glad we're doing this.
Yeah, for sure. Hearing all your guys' majors, I'm like, wow. I feel not smart.
So I knew that's where I was going. I knew that's where I was going. Stop putting yourself down.
No, but seriously, I really like being able to hear all your guys' input about like different majors and different backgrounds that you guys come from. But I think we can all like resonate with the idea of being a woman of color, and I think that we find that identity within each other. So I think that's like a really big part of like why I feel a sense of belonging here, is just because I'm not like in my hometown. I was kind of the only like person of color, let alone woman of color in my town. So it's nice to be a little bit more diverse in that way, I'd say. But
yeah, before I came to campus, I would hear a lot that like there's not much diversity here. But I think like maybe you and I come from small enough towns that like coming here does feel like, oh, we actually have community,
Yeah. Oh dang. I've always gone to like schools in California, like they have a bunch of diversity, but I'm not new to being the only black person in the class, especially like history classes. I hated being the only black person in class, but like I was a lot of times. And so being the only the person of color in classes, like I'm used to it. I just still don't like it. So, but I like coming here. There's you guys, and then all the other cultural centers, like everybody's so supportive too and like nice. So I'm just like, ooh, okay. You guys don't say hello to each other though. That's kind of odd. That's what I found out about people in like Oregon. Like I'll wave or like do a nod and people will just be like, I don't see you. And I'm like, you want to fight today? Like why? Why do you do that? Like I'm being nice.
Wait, that is so weird, actually.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that.
Yeah, me
I- other
either.
people and the BCC, I've talked to other people because they're from California. Some people are from California as well. And they're like, yeah, they don't nod. That's like something you have to get used to. And I'm like, I don't like that. Be nice to me when I
That's
see
really
you.
interesting. Because I mean, us being natives of Oregon, I guess, like,
Yeah.
we wouldn't really realize that.
Yeah.
What about you, Shaina? Has there ever been anything you're like, oh, these Oregonians?
I feel like people here, I mean, people in Kentucky are really friendly, but people here are even friendlier, which
Oh, really?
surprised me. I kind of thought like middle of the country maybe is like where you're most, you're just like waving to strangers on the street. But yeah, like I don't think I've encountered a single mean person. As much as you insist that you're mean, Jada.
I don't know if I'm mean. It kind of makes me self-conscious. I'm like, shoot, maybe I am mean, but
You're not mean.
who knows?
No.
I just like to mess with you about it. It's not like the people in Oregon are mean, like in general. It's just when you wave to them while you're walking, like you will be like the nicest person if I sat and talked to you, but like if I see you, like when I walk past people and say like hello or do like a little nod, like I do like a head nod, like a down one to be like, and like you close your eyes to be like, I'm friendly, I'm super nice, hello, how are you? People just don't do it. They just be like,
I won't lie. Like, I can't see that well half the time. And, like, so, like, no, 'cause Jada walked in the other day. And I was like, oh, welcome. Because I was over there. She walked in. And Ray looked at me and goes, what? And I go, what? And then I took, like, 4 steps closer and realized it was Jada. From that door to over there. I was like, who is that? So if I saw you and you did that, I would not have registered. And that might just be the thing, is that we're not
like-
registering that you're, like,
hello. Sometimes I say hello out loud, so I like some people, I know you hear me. Other people I'm like, maybe not, it's fine. I also don't say stuff super loud though.
I
just
feel like
mumbling.
Yeah.
yeah, it might be the masks too. Like, I
think
know
Ray
that
says that.
ultimately, like, I think masks are a good thing and it's kind of controversial. But anyways, I think that we can all argue that masks makes it a lot harder to recognize people just because we only get to see this like half of the face, I guess. So maybe it's that too. I don't know. But
I'd be ignoring that though because my mom's definitely, I love my mom, but she is an older lady and she definitely one of those people who like, I can't hear you when you have your mask on. And I'm like, your ears are out of the mask, Mom. I'm yelling at you. You know you hear every word I'm saying.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to hear, but she's fine.
yeah, that's interesting.
I'm gonna start aggressively waving at people.
Hi.
Be like, hey, yo, yeah, you.
Just call people.
People are gonna be like, somebody needs to come get her. And I'm like, don't do that. I'm okay. I don't want to go. Well, I'll just start being mean. Also, stop being mean about umbrellas.
What about umbrellas?
Listen,
I get
don't
so
need to
many
use an
jokes
umbrella
about
here.
an umbrella. My hair does not fit in a raincoat. It doesn't
Basically-
fit.
That's fair.
I look wild in a raincoat because this has to get pushed forward. I look crazy.
It's kind of like a thing where if people use an umbrella, they're already like outcasted as not an Oregonian because they can't take the rain. But I'm from Oregon and I literally have like an OSU umbrella in my backpack right now. So,
See?
I mean, I do have a raincoat and stuff, but I mean, sometimes I'm just like, so much easier just to hold it.
My professor
No hate, though.
flamed me when I went to go do like an office hour because he made you do it. And he was like, you Californians with your umbrellas. I was like, sir, don't do that.
Those are fighting words.
Don't do that. I'm from a city that doesn't even rain that much. Don't do that to me. Also lost my first umbrella immediately.
It was
Don't know
a
where
sign
it's
that
at.
you don't need it. No, I'm kidding.
No, I needed it. That day I needed it, and it wasn't there for me. That day was rough.
I did not realize that carrying an umbrella was like signaling to people that I'm not from here.
I'll
But-
signal it forever too.
Yeah, right. Like already, like my southern accent comes out sometimes, so I think it's like maybe already obvious to people. So I'll just keep carrying an umbrella.
What weather is in Kentucky? Like, what's the?
Everything, we get everything. It's like really hot and humid in the summer and like cold and icy in the winter. And we also get tornadoes somewhere in there. Sorry, I don't think you all wanted like a recap of Kentucky climate.
No, I like
but-
it.
Okay,
It's okay.
well,
I don't want
asked.
to ever go to
I asked.
Kentucky.
We're
You didn't
learning
sell
our
it very well.
geography, the
Yeah.
climate.
sounds
I mean,
horrid.
it's beautiful. Like, it's very green. There's the like Appalachian Mountains in the east. You know, like I love driving through Kentucky, but yeah, we get like all the weather.
Fresno's just
Sure.
dry, hot, and a lot of like fog, or not fog, smog. It's smog, it's pollution. Like we have the worst air quality. I think
Yeah.
at some point it was the #1 worst air quality in the States, and I was like, that's not what we want to be #1 for. But we got it.
Could be worse things.
We have other worse things too. I just
Yeah.
don't know about those. I've kind of deleted that from my brain.
I think Oregon's mostly known for being rainy.
Rainy and green,
Yeah,
Oh, it's so green here.
right?
It's so nice.
that's so weird. Like,
You guys, this freeway has just a bunch of trees.
yeah, I think we Oregonians take it for granted, not gonna lie. Because we're just like, oh, it is green here?
You guys be picking food though. That makes me laugh.
Would be what?
Like people pick food, like they like forage, like on
Oh.
campus and everything. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Listen,
Fred
I
Myers
trust
is
lots
down
of
the
our
street.
plants the way that I trust our tap water.
See,
I've been hearing some like movements for like having more edible plants around campus to like help with food security. I think maybe we like if students are already like foraging, maybe as a community we need to be more careful about like what plants are here and making sure everything is safe. That could be an episode like of Still We Persist, which maybe takes us to like our final question for each other. What topics do we want to discuss on the show this year?
I know I'm not gonna be on every episode, but I'm definitely gonna be on the episode if like we ever talk about dating as a woman of color. And then like for Black History Month, if we have an episode for there, I'll be here for those.
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited if we have a dating as a woman of color because the stories I can tell y'all, especially in Corvallis, the things people say to me, like my friends know the play-by-play. I have like a Kahoot of like the wackest things that people have like said to me. And like just to give like a teaser of it, like one of the first things someone, or I was like interested, who was interested in me, was like, I've never been with a Black woman before. And I'm like, and you never will.
Absolutely not.
Not after this conversation. Like why? Why would you say that to someone? What did they think they were doing?
I don't know what part of them thinks like, if I say this, she'll be like, I want to be #1. No, I want to warn every other woman to
It's
never
really that,
talk
like-
to you. I don't know. It's always been terrible, but I feel like Oregon might be worse. So,
I feel like I'm a bad example because I've only dated white boys. So I feel like I can't have like an opinion on this.
I feel like you can. You'll have like a different one.
Maybe.
I mean, we're not talking necessarily about the people we're dating, but we're talking about dating as women of color.
Like, as
right?
you.
Yeah,
Still a
that's
woman of
true.
color.
You like get, like, didn't you tell us yesterday, like you get weird compliments?
I do get weird compliments.
Yeah, so I'm like, see,
Very like
think we-
microaggression-y for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Like very, very external, I feel. Like people will ask me like, what race are you? I'm like, I don't know. What race am I? I don't know. It's just a weird thing I get at stores and stuff. Like, I used to work click list at Freddy's, and then people would come up to me and be like, are you like Hawaiian or something? And I'm just like, that's just such a weird question just to go up to someone and ask. But
That's so bold. I would never do that.
I know. I'm like, I mean, it doesn't offend me, but it's just like,
also
it
I've
makes me
never,
wonder.
I've never walked around and been like, I need to know that person's ethnicity right now. I must know
It is
before I can
my
go
business.
on with my life. Like,
I try to make a theory about it, like maybe people are just trying to prove like their diversity, or like they're like, oh, I actually like all races and stuff, or like, I don't really know. I don't know. I just thought about that. I was like, maybe they're trying to make themselves look more like diverse, or I don't know. It doesn't offend me or anything. It's just kind of weird to be like, yo, you this?
and nobody's
know?
ever come up to me, but I feel like because they can tell at this point. But like, I do get a lot of stares, which I have like just started staring back at people, which is lovely. Because when it's like old white men, I love to put fear into their lives a little bit to be like, oh, that one can get me, and I'm like, I probably could.
I think you bring up a good point. Like, it's all external, because like, Maya, you have multiple identities, and it's like people really only look on like the outside of things, or like with me, it's like people only see that like I'm a sort of like Asian race, so then like, you know, if people just don't like, they're not as sensitive to the situation, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's always the people I know. Like, one time I had like made a comment about like me being black. Someone whipped around with like all the surprise on their face and was like, "You're black?" And I was like, "Yeah, what about it?" And they're like, "I thought you were, what was it, Puerto Rican Filipina." I'm like, "Oh, you thought about it? Oh, you thought about this?" And then I looked at the girl next to me who also had like just this like look of awe in her eyes, and I was like, "And you?" And she goes, "I thought you were Native American." I'm like, I get that I'm ethnically ambiguous, but there's a line to be drawn because I don't, like, there was nothing that clued, like, nothing about my name, the way I dress, the way I talk. And like, obviously those are things that, you know, differ from people to people, like where they're from, how they were raised. But I don't think there was anything that like about me that screamed Native American or like Puerto Rican. Like, I have a Vietnamese last name. And I think like all of those things like played into like those conversations of identity for myself, where I was like, oh, like my upbringing, there are already ways I felt about myself and like perceived my identity. Cause like I live with my mom and my stepdad, and they're both like very Vietnamese looking. And then my brother and I are both, who are like both half Vietnamese, look very black, like present very black, but we still have those features. But it's like, what does it mean to me when people look at me and are like, oh, I'm going to like prescribe my thoughts of like who I think you are on you, and that's like how I perceive you. And I'm like, those erase so many of the experiences and conversations I've had.
Right. For some reason, as you were talking, I thought about like, I think we could do a whole episode on like assumptions that people make about us, but as like a South Asian woman-ish, I like, people often assume, they get like surprised that I have any sexuality at all. So then if I talk about being bi, they're like, whoa, wait, what? Like, that's a possibility. So like, I would like, we did an episode last year with Seoul, like Mia and I talked with a couple folks from Seoul, and I think it'd be cool to do that again, like have another collaboration talking about like being queer and women of color, because that experience stays the same and keeps evolving in a lot of ways.
Yeah, an episode about like stereotypes or something would be cool. Or like you said, misconceptions about being a person of color in general. I think that would be really eye-opening for a lot of people. Maybe spread the word, educate some people.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I would like that one. So there's a lot of, I don't know if you ever say you're like major to people, but because of where I used to work at and having to like introduce myself a bunch of times and like talking to older people, when they would like, oh, what's your major? Like when they found out I was in college, and I would tell them like, oh, before I would used to just say engineering, but then at some point I liked to see like how tripped out they would be when I would say ecological engineering. And I'm like, I wonder why like you're always so surprised when I say like I'm an engineering major. Because I'm like, do other people get this surprise fact? Because I'm like, I feel like the guys in the engineering thing don't get that.
They definitely don't.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, a woman in engineering?
Yeah.
A
So I'm
black
like,
woman in
You can't do that?
Yeah. I can do whatever I want.
No, that's what just people
I'm just
say.
messing with you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just kind of, I guess, sad that we still have those, like, I guess, evolutionary aspects of how we view race, maybe. I don't know.
Well, we would also like to hear from our viewers what you want us to talk about this year. So we'll put our socials or email in the episode descriptions, and you can reach out to us, and we would love to have your suggestions. Anything we would like to say to wrap up our episode?
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I'm really glad like we actually get to be in the same place, like be in the center, be all comfy. Yeah.
Like and
to-
subscribe.
Yeah.
That's what all the YouTubers say, right?
Yeah, we'll end on that. Thanks, AYA community. Like and subscribe.
Bye, everyone.